Incoterms in short for international commercial terms that clearly defines the respective obligations, costs and risks involved in the delivery of goods from the seller to the buyer. These are a set of rules published by the International Chamber of Commerce, which are voluntary, authoritative, and globally accepted. The last two Incoterms publications are Incoterms 2010 and Incoterms 2020. Both are valid for use in your trade transactions. But remember, when it comes to the sales contracts, you should clearly mention which one you are going with by mentioning the year. Incoterms are divided into groups. The latest Incoterms 2020 is categorized into 4 groups as C, D, E and F. These are classified according to the fees, risk, responsibility for formalities. Group C. Seller pays for the main carriage and for other related costs. CFR, CIF, CPT and CIP belong to this group. Group D. Seller is obliged to deliver the goods to a specific place or to the port of destination. DAP, DPU and DDP belong to this group. Group E. Seller makes the goods available to the buyer at the seller's agreed delivery point. EXW is the only term in this group. Group F. Seller does not pay for the main carriage but bears the related costs up to the agreed cargo delivery point. FCA, FAS and FOB belong to this group. Another thing to know is that within these groupings, there are Incoterms that are transport mode specific. For example, the Incoterms like FAS, FOB, CFR and CIF are only for sea and inland waterways, whilst all the other terms can be used for any mode of transport. Now this is where we see so many traders use incorrect terms. This is because they don't really pay attention to select the correct Incoterm in their contracts. So as a result, the transactions could end up in a massive financial and business loss when it comes to claims or disputes. One common mistake we see over and over is using FOB instead of FCA for multimodal transport and for containerized shipments. So it is paramount important to know your Incoterms if you wish to keep your business afloat. Now the next thing to know is that Incoterms 2020 requires a different level of insurance coverage for the CIP term with an Institute Cargo Clause A. For all other Incoterms, depending on the actual term used, the seller or buyer should cover insurance based on the relevant party's responsibility. You know, Incoterms are just one part of a trade sales contract. Incoterms doesn't say anything about the price to be paid, the method of payment of the transaction, or any guarantee on the payment for goods. Also remember that Incoterms rules doesn't deal with the transfer of ownership of the goods, breach of contract, or product liability. All these should be specifically stated in the contract of sale separately. In conclusion, Make sure to select the proper Incoterms and make sure both buyer and seller thoroughly understands the Incoterms used. Using the right Incoterm eliminates ambiguities or inconsistencies in sales and shipping contracts. This makes it easy for buyers and sellers to identify and manage costs and liabilities when transporting cargo between origins to destinations. Now, these are just a handful of tips for buyers and sellers. We recommend you taking a look at the new Incoterms 2020 rulebook published by the International Chamber of Commerce to make sure your transactions are trouble-free.